He just always had questions. And what's happened now in the last 2 years is he's done a lot of reading. And now he's backing up the origins of Christianity and how that all got put together. And he's not a well-educated man, but he's taken the time to read, and then he's got a lot of those questions answered. Is where did Christianity come from? Oh my gosh, there were a bunch of Jews running around then, and there were the Pharisees and the Sadducees and the Essenes, and he says, I think Jesus was a Pharisee. Or no, he was an Essene. He went, oh yeah, Essene. And he's been working on this from a wholly different spot, and his growth is immense. But not from anything that I can tell. I mean, he goes to church and he listens to the pastor, but he no longer listens in terms of, and dogma and all of that. Now he's putting together a history. He's seeing how things came about. He's seeing the connections between them. He's seeing how some of the services, some of the celebration is the same. And he's watching how there's this unification going on around there. And so his growth, to me, is immense. And he's dropping dogma. He's no longer interested in dogma. And so I have these two individuals, and one, merely by dint of his own innate curiosity and desire to have an understanding of how it got put together, is moving forward and formulating his own thoughts and opinions, which is wonderful. And I have this other individual who is so firmly rooted, and maybe even more deeply rooted than when I last left him, because he's had another year of training or indoctrination, and there's this logic that they give you that are a bunch of non sequiturs that get to the point that they get to that no longer has meaning because they don't know where they left the path of logic. But it's interesting to watch how that happened, and both of these individuals have grown, but I want to say they've gone in opposite directions. One guy is more deeply rooted, and that could be a good thing, because as you're more deeply rooted in the confusion, there's a point that there's something that changes and moves around. And we'll see what happens with that. But that's an interesting thing that happened. And so you look at that and you're like, wow. And so that's what happens to us, wherever we're at, is we continue to evolve and grow unless we just stop thinking about it. And the most marvelous evolution was described in our scripture this morning, is this growth into love and this expansive nature that takes place, and how we do put away the things of a child. And in a sense, what I'm looking at is as children, and we had childish viewpoints about God and the universe and our fellow man, and we allowed ourselves to accept hard and fast dogmatic rules of existence towards God. Those are the childish things. And as we allow ourselves to grow out of that and grow more richly into the tradition of Jesus and the tradition of growing and expanding as a being and contributing to the planet, that particular evolution is just exactly what's described in our scripture lesson this morning. So I'm going to be reading that a little more closely and seeing the wonderful, what do I want to call it, the wonderful way it was expressed. And this is a day of poetry, because we've dealt with Robert Frost here and things of that nature, and it's National Poet Day or whatever it is, or International Poetry Day. But there's so much there, and I look at these people and the way that they express things, and there's so much there for us to learn and understand as long as we can be open to it. And in our lives, we are going to meet people that are questioning, and as we see them later, they will grow. And we are going to deal with people that don't have questions, that have all of the answers, and they will not change until it all blows up in their face. And we will not be able to get through to them. And I have that going on right now, and one aspect of life is dealing with an individual that just makes it up. But, and that's okay. That's okay. It's just that in dealing with them, you have to deal with them another way. So that's all right. But it's just important for us to note that there's constant change, growth, and evolution taking place, and we need to allow ourselves to be part of that motion and movement, and a part of that experience and growth and love that takes place, especially at this time of the year, because we have another week or two coming up, and we have Easter, and as we embrace Easter and the Easter celebration, we have an opportunity to look at it in a more expansive manner and to gain more from it. So today, tomorrow, and whatever we do over the course of the week is we just look at ourselves as growing, expanding, and enjoying this life, and catching on to greater nuances as to what the path of love is about and what that expression is about between ourselves and between all those others on the planet. So, cool. Those thoughts in mind, let us move over to our acceptance statement. Now may the light illumine our mind with wisdom, may love fill our heart with understanding, may the one life shine forth from our innermost being, so that we walk renewed in light, life, love, today, tomorrow, and forever.